Hello and welcome to Spotlight On, the video series where I bring in locals from the community and talk to them about some of the theater stuff that they have going on. Today we have a very special guest, so go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Gavin Jernigan-Puett. I'm a representative from the Aggie Musical Theater Club at A&M right now. We're a kind of new troupe that's been starting up after Aggie Players kind of disbanded and A&M kind of had its own thing with theater majors and anything regarding that. And so there was a bit of a gap there, but our president, Matthew Trevino, and one of his friends, Barrett Brown, who's actually our orchestra director, they got together at the end of last year and wanted to start something up. And so they started the Aggie Musical Theater Club. And I'll be playing Curly in the production.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about your upcoming production of Oklahoma. And I got to say, I saw Oklahoma back when it was on Broadway with the revival where they went really dark with it. So I'm curious how you guys are also... No kidding. Hey, when boots start falling from the ceiling, that's when I start having issues. Yeah, so tell me a bit more about your production of Oklahoma and the character that you play.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a great production. I've loved getting to learn to play Curly. I have done productions before, but I've never really been a lead character. And so that's kind of been a journey learning how to do that and how to be more in the spotlight rather than be more of the supporting for other characters. And it's also been really fascinating because I've done a production of Oklahoma before, but I played Old Man Carnes. And so it's like watching it through someone else's eyes, and like every little aspect of it is different. And so it's a lot of comparing, and it's a lot of kind of seeing how things are new, but also how they're familiar. And so it's been a really cool experience.
Yeah, and your organization is starting completely from the beginning, building everything up. So what has that been like?
It's definitely been an uphill battle.
I can imagine, yeah.
This is our first year, and so there are a lot of kinks to iron out. There's a lot of things that obviously all of us would love to improve, but I also think that we've done a very good job with what we've been given because we have been rehearsing since, I want to say November. Auditions were held at like the middle of last semester. And so we've been working on it for quite a while. And it was kind of the thing that always happens in show business. You have everything kind of feeling like it's all disjointed and it's not going to come together. And then you actually put it on a stage. Like we had our first full dress rehearsal yesterday in Rudder Theater. And then you get hair and makeup, and you get lights, and you have props in the set, and then everything just clicks into place. And I think it's going to be an amazing
hits, and then
show.
All of a sudden, it's all so real. Is it feeling real for you guys? I know your performance is coming up very soon.
Yeah, this Saturday, double feature.
Yeah, 2 performances in one.
Oh, yeah.
We'll break a leg. I'm wishing you all the
you.
best. Tell me a bit more about your acting journey as well. What got you into musical theater in the first place?
Yeah, so I've always loved musical theater. Music as a whole has been a huge part of my life for pretty much my whole life.
Right.
When I was, I want to say like 4 months old, my mom had my grandparents take me to this organization at my church back in my hometown. I'm from San Antonio.
Gotcha.
And so they took me to this thing called Music in Me. And it was with the choir director. And it was basically just taking in like preschoolers and toddlers and like teaching them music and basic rhythm and having them sing nursery rhymes and stuff like that. And so I got started into choral music very early, and then I just took off with that. And I've done choirs all my life. I've done it through middle school and high school. I've done like all-state choir. I've done all that stuff, and I've loved it. And then when I got into high school, I'd always kind of heard about Broadway, and I knew about it, and like I had friends and family who were really into it, and I liked listening to the music, but it had always kind of been a thing that was just like, oh, this is really cool. I enjoy seeing this and hearing this, but I'd never kind of seen myself doing it. And then, funnily enough, my freshman year of high school was the year that COVID hit.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was going into high school completely virtual. It was totally wild. I basically didn't have a freshman year. But once we were going back in person, the way that my high school had it set up is that the theater and choir departments were in the same little building. It was like an island in the middle of campus. And so it was like maybe my second week of choir, and I was just walking around and I ran into the theater director. And he said, "Hey, the choir director has been talking to me about you. Have you ever been interested in musical theater?" And I said, "I have not really, but that would be amazing." And so my first ever role was as Dan Dad in the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee.
Oh, that's quite a role to start out on.
Yes, it is. It was an immensely bit part, but it was one of the most, I would say, extravagant bit parts I've ever played.
Right.
And so it was a ton of fun to get started with that. And then I just kept the ball rolling and I couldn't get enough of it. And I did Oklahoma. I played Alfred Doolittle in My Fair Lady. And then I finished out my high school repertoire with Reuben in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Has anyone ever told you that you should be a voice actor? Because I can hear it quite a lot just here.
Well, thank you.
I think you would absolutely do a great job.
Thank you. No one has ever told it to me, but I am very interested in doing voice acting work, and I would love to. I've always had the utmost respect for voice actors, and I've been fascinated by them, and I feel like it would be such a cool job. And honestly, I feel like in our modern kind of pop culture today, for some reason it feels like there's kind of been a pushback against voice actors, and I feel like a lot of like traditional animated movies, stuff that like Disney is doing nowadays, I feel like they're handing off a lot of roles that would traditionally go to experienced professional voice actors just to actors, and having them act solely in a voice acting capacity.
And we don't know, maybe AI will be the future of voiceover for these larger companies.
Jeez,
which
Pete.
real actual voice actors might become a luxury for indie artists. And who knows what that'll
scary
look like.
future.
No kidding. Yeah, but sure. But I know that you mentioned you are from San Antonio. So what made you want to come to Texas A&M?
So both my mom and my dad are Aggies. And yep.
I know. The ring is already here. I had also a class of 97 parents. Yes.
Yeah. And so class of 99 for mine.
Gotcha.
And so I've been raised on A&M stuff, went to a couple of games. There was always A&M stuff in my house. My mom has a big old sign that's Texas and it says A&M on it.
Nice.
And so I kind of always had A&M in my periphery, but I was never sure if it was really the right fit for me, and especially if like musical theater was going to be my thing. Like, would I want to go to a school that has it but doesn't necessarily emphasize it? And then I got to my senior year of high school, and I was kind of thinking about what I wanted to do with my life, and all the cards kind of just fell into place, and it worked out to be A&M was the only school I applied to.
Oh, gotcha. So you're lucky that you got into Texas A&M, considering that was your gamble there.
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah, for sure. And what are you majoring in?
I'm currently a zoology major.
Zoology major?
Yes.
Interesting.
But I am hoping to transfer to biomedical sciences.
Gotcha. So is theater something you see yourself doing full-time maybe after you graduate, or?
So, funnily enough, I went into this year and I'd kind of written musical theater off as a thing that was like a super fun blip in my life, but I would never really be able to do anything with it. And then I got approached by one of my friends who actually plays Will in this production of Oklahoma, and he's in the Singing Cadets with me on Texas A&M. And
so you're also in the Singing Cadets.
Yes, ma'am.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But he approached me and he said, I am auditioning for this production of Oklahoma. And I was thinking if you would be interested in it. And I said, oh my God, that sounds amazing. And so it was, funnily enough, he came and found me like the week of auditions. And so I think that night learned and memorized the monologue they wanted and the song snippet they wanted, and then I recorded them that night, and then I sent them in.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
For sure. And, what should people know about Oklahoma before they go see your show?
So, let's see. What should you know about Oklahoma? I would say it's just a lot of fun. It is just a fun, it's kind of a goofy musical. Like, if you read the reviews of Oklahoma, it's a lot of stuff that's like, it's all American, forget like apple pie and baseball, this is it. Like, going into Oklahoma, you shouldn't necessarily expect something super serious. It's going to be a fun show. We have added in a lot of our own things as well that kind of make us, I think, stand out a little bit and in a good way. And so I think it'll be a unique experience for people who have seen Oklahoma before and just a fun time for people who haven't seen it.
So just to reiterate, we're not going with the dark version that they brought back to Broadway. Okay.
I know that was there for a little bit, but we are very much going back to kind of the easy breeziness of it. And of course, there are dark parts within the original script.
Right.
But it's all done with the air of humor and fun.
Well, the other thing I will say is that production did serve us chili and cornbread at intermissions. So, what's your chili budget like?
Yeah, we'll see. That's to be determined at the moment.
Right. Just if you do put beans in the chili, know that that's not chili, in my personal opinion.
Fair enough.
I need to ask, do you think beans and chili is...
I personally am not a fan of beans at all.
Okay.
So I would have to say no, that's not chili.
Okay. That's good. Then you can stay.
Don't have to leave.
Exactly. And where can people get tickets for your show?
So if you go to, I believe it's tx.ag/Oklahoma, capital O. If you go to that link domain, it should take you right to the ticket page.
Gotcha.
If that does not work, if you just go to Rudder Theater, you can get the tickets for Oklahoma. They will be, I believe, $20 a person, and you can reserve your seats. We have 2 showings, a matinee at 1 p.m. this Saturday, and then an evening show at 7 p.m. Both of them should be phenomenal. We're super excited. The entire cast can't wait to do this. And honestly, for a lot of them, it's their first time ever doing musical theater. Oh, yeah. And so there's a lot of excitement in the cast, and we're just really happy to be putting this out there.
Yeah, for sure. And do you have any ideas of what musical you would like to take on in the future?
Well, that is a great question. We kind of as a club have been talking about that a little bit. We don't have anything yet, obviously. But me personally, I obviously have my favorites.
Right.
I think that a great thing to do for next year would be something like Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, that's
I think
so
that could be a lot of fun. I
Yes.
think that I love Oklahoma, and I really do. But I feel like our kind of publicity around it will suffer a little bit from the fact that, yes, people like it, but they feel like it's been done before, and it's kind of a dated musical. And it's a lot of fun, and I love Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Right.
But I feel like people will see Oklahoma and think, oh, we've seen this done a million times. It's Oklahoma. It's a bit old school, and they might not be brought in for it. But I feel like something new, like Little Shop, or even something like Addams Family, or some kind of more modern musical like that, you have a much more kind of exciting set. You have a much more driven plot. You have a very kind of like almost a gripping feel that I don't know if you necessarily get with any of those musicals. And so I think that could be a great show to do. I think we definitely have the cast for it. And so that would probably be my personal choice.
Little Shop of Horrors would be amazing.
I
know we did it a while back ago when I was in it, and we managed to get the puppet from Theater Under the Stars rented.
Wow.
And that was so incredible.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe they still got it somewhere in a
Maybe.
storage
We can
container, and you
borrow
can
it.
reach out and ask. Yeah. All right. Well, that was my last question. So thank you once again for joining me out here today.
Of course.
And stay tuned for more.